September 1st is finally here, everybody. Day 1 of our Chord Melody Challenge, and I'm really excited. Remember, you can win your own ukulele from Kala by participating and filming yourself playing all 10 challenges and uploading the videos to Instagram, tagging us at KalaBrandMusic, at 10thumbspro, hashtag Chord Melody Challenge. If you've already missed your chance to win a ukulele, don't worry. This is a great crash course to this style. And if you're new to chord melody, these 10 lessons will help you dramatically and accelerate your learning. 3 pinnable tabs for everyone pinned in the first comment in the comment section here on YouTube. If you like the tabs, think about becoming a Patreon. All right, so let's jump into day 1. What are we doing today? We are learning how to play the chord and the melody at the same time, so you can play the chord but still hear the melody. To do this, we need to learn a technique called the thumb strum. Pa-rum-pa-pum-pum, the thumb strum, yeah. Your ear hears the highest note, so what we have to figure out is how to play the chords with the melody being the highest note in the chord. And the best way to do that is with the thumb. So let's go ahead and grab our ukulele, brain and attention span, and once you have those 3 things, let's go ahead and zoom in nice and close so we can see what we're doing. Let's do it. All right, so let's jump into it. The very first thing that you want to do when you're learning a chord melody is to learn how to play the melody, because the melody is the superstar. You can think of chords as like the supporting cast, or you could think of chords as like the canvas, and melody is the painting. So of course the canvas is important, but it's only important in the sense that it's there to support the melody. So let's go ahead and put the tabs up for this melody and play through it. If you can't read tabs, check out this video on how to read tabs. It's going to be really important for this particular challenge. It's just a number system, and the number suggests the frets. So our melody sounds like this. Okay, so that's what we are going to learn how to play. The next thing that you want to learn is the chords. So the chords for this one, we're going to need an F chord, 2, O, 1, O, F major. We're going to need a C major, O, 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 3, C7, O, 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 1. We're going to need a B flat. Now a B flat's a hard chord, but we're going to keep this an easy beginner version with 0 bar chords, 0 hard chords. So even though you need a B flat, I'm going to show you how we're going to work around that a little later, okay? So the thumb strum. The thumb strum is what we use to hear our melody, okay? So let's break down exactly what that is. So your ear tends to hear the very highest note that's going to be played. So let's say hypothetically, over the F chord, my melody is this F note here on the 1st fret of the E string. What I want to do is I want to take my thumb and I want to strum just these 3 strings. I don't want to play this A string because I want my finger to stop here, so the highest pitch note, the highest frequency you hear is this F note. I'm using this A note like a trapeze net or like a jet landing on an aircraft carrier. This is my brakes. This is how it lets me know I've gone too far. And that's why we're using our thumb. With the index finger, it's much harder because of the nail to stop right there. With the fleshy part of your thumb, when you feel that, you can actually dig in and let it catch your finger. Hear the difference between me strumming all 4 strings and just those 3. Can you feel how pronounced this A note is? So let's say our melody goes 1st fret of the E string, A note, 3rd fret of the A string. The reason I chose these notes is because they are F, A, C. The notes in an F chord are F, A, C. So if I use my thumb and I go, you can hear the melody. So that's how the thumb strum works. You're using it to make sure that you hear the melody and the chord at the same time. Again, remembering that your ear is always going to hear the highest note pitch frequency rise. That's why we're using our thumb to make that shine. So if we bring up our melody, the 4 chords, what we're going to do is we're going to take that first 4 measures and we're going to use the thumb strum to make that pop. So what we're going to do is over the first 2 where the note is, well, the melody goes 1, 1, 3, 3. We're going to make our F chord and strum through with our thumb and only play the first 3 strings. Then we're going to get our pinky on the 3rd fret, keeping our F chord down. We're going to get our pinky on the 3rd fret, and we're going to play through all the way again. So we get twinkle, twinkle. Okay? Don't move on until you feel confident with that one measure, because you really don't want to skip this step, as this is the foundation of everything, right? If you skip this step, then your Jenga tower is going to be falling over much, much quicker. But if you take your time and really get comfortable with this thumb strum, this style of music is going to be much, much, much easier in general. Okay, so then our melody goes up. We're going to harmonize the next 2 measures. It goes up here to this D note. Now, I said that we weren't going to play any bar chords, and I said we were going to make this easy. So our workaround here, instead of playing this B flat, or instead of playing this B flat with our pinky here, is we are going to play our middle finger on the 6th fret of the E string. This is a B flat note. And we're going to play these 2 notes together. Now, the technique I'm using here is I am using something called chord fragments or intervals, and instead of playing all 3 notes of the chord, I'm only playing 2. There will be a day in this challenge when I dive much deeper into this particular style. So if you don't understand that, that's fine. You don't need to understand it just yet, because we're going to take a much deeper look at it. Just note what we're doing is we're taking our B flat and our D note, and we're making a 2-note chord. Your middle finger is on the 6th fret of the E string, and your index finger is on the 5th. You're going to play that 2 times, and you're going to go back to the F chord with your pinky. Now you'll notice on the 4th beat, 4th measure, there is another F chord, but we don't have any melody there. So what do? We switch back to our index finger, because our index finger is really good with a soft strum at playing the chord without making any particular note stand out. So the second measure would be the first 2 together, dude, so proud of you. Wherever you are, whatever couch you're sitting on, whatever hammock you're in, whatever, if you are riding a inflatable banana behind a jet boat playing an aquatic ukulele with 5 people that are identical quintuplets and you're all doing it, whatever your situation, wherever you are, I'm really, really proud of you for doing this right now. This goes past the C, G, F, G, and nothing's wrong with that, but I am really, really proud of you for stepping out of your comfort zone into the learning zone, borderline panic zone, to push your abilities with the ukulele. This is a very powerful instrument, and what you're doing right now is you're trying to get the most out of it. So I see you, I'm proud of you. Pat yourself on the back and know somewhere you have a teacher sitting in Medellin, Colombia right now, who knows where when you see this, that is really, really proud of you. Okay, so the next 2 measures, we're just going to go ahead and take this home. We have the 1st fret of our A string. This is where our melody is, and it's a C7, so we just strum all the notes with our thumb. Next note is an A note, so we make an F chord and strum all the notes with our thumb. Then the next note is a G note. And what do we do here? Because it's a G note, but it's a C7 chord. So what exactly do we do? The C7 chord has a C note, E note, G note, and a B flat note. It's a cool arpeggio. So what we do is we simply get our ring finger on the 3rd fret of the E. That's the G note. And we play through these 3 strings together. I'm using that trapeze method because I want my G note to be the highest note that you hear. And I'm simply omitting the B flat. You're going to leave notes on the floor. We only have 4 strings, so that's part of this process. Being creative and figuring out which notes you leave out is also part of the fun of this stuff. It's a really engrossing process when you start to learn to make your own. And then we finish F chord, strum through all 3, and we let it ring because this is the end of the song. Okay, so let's play through the whole thing. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, a couple things to note. One of them is this melody is only chord tones. What does that mean? Your chord has 3 notes in it. With the C7, you have a 4-note chord. And a chord tone is when your melody is a note in the chord. So if you have the chord F-A-C, your melody would be either an F note, an A note, or a C note. That would be a chord tone. We're going to see later that there are melodies where you're playing notes that aren't in the chord. In fact, we're going to see that as early as tomorrow. When you play notes that aren't in the chord, you create something called dissonance, which is sonic tension, which creates musical interest. The Twinkle Twinkle Little Star melody is so boring because it only uses chord tones, but that also makes it a great place for us to start our journey with this style of music. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this in the key of C now, because the key of C is going to present a couple other problems that we didn't have with this one. We bring up the melody. Let's go ahead and play through it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, one thing that jumps out right away is our highest note is this A note. So we don't have to do anything with these double stops. We can just use all our chord shapes. But our lowest note is a C. So how do you make it so your ear hears the highest note, but it's also the lowest note on the ukulele? Well, if that's the case, then you can't really accompany it with a chord. You only have to just play that C alone. So the first measure, if we harmonize it, is going to be 0, 0, 0, 3. Again, a C chord. This G note is in our G chord. It's the same as this open G here. So we get our ring finger on the 3rd fret and play through those 3 strings. So we get... Why don't we go ahead and just harmonize the rest of this one, because there isn't any surprises until the 4th measure. Measure 2, you just play your F chord, all 4 of them. Then you go back to the 003. And then here, we're going to strum through on the offbeat with our index finger. Boom. Now, you're going to want to get your pinky on the 3rd fret of the C here. Because when we do this, it doesn't really matter what's on the A string because we're not playing the A string. But on the 4th beat of the 2nd measure, we want to get the pinky down because we want it to be a C chord, even though we're not trying to make any particular notes in this chord shine or pop, as I like to say. We still want to be able to play this on the 4th beat to keep it time. Again, using the index finger to make sure no melody really sticks out. 0-0-3-3, and I just leave that finger down there. Now this actually technically makes a C5 chord, but it would sound stranger if we did this. It sounds better if we and leave that finger down. So then we get into the 3rd measure, and it's nothing fancy here. We have a G7 now, and we strum through the first 3 chords, 0, 2, 1, from our G7 chord, not worrying about the A string. And then we play this C, O, 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 because our melody is this E note. Okay, now this last measure is interesting because we have 2, 2 from our G7 and O from our C. So what we're going to do here is we are going to play 2 alone, and then we're going to use our index finger and strum through the chord and not make any one particular note shine. And you're thinking, well, then why would we do that if the melody note's 2 and we're not letting any particular note shine? What are we doing? Your ear is so used to this melody that we are implying this D note here by playing this chord here. There are times when maybe a particular melody note won't be at the forefront of your chord melody. It won't shine, it won't pop, it won't stick out. And that's okay if all the other ones are. It's every now and then you sacrifice a note, but the integrity of the piece will still sound good. So that last measure you get. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to hit the C and then a C chord. Or because it's the end, you can go. You can go. And just let it ring out to finish the song. These 4 measures from the top, we get. Or without that extra C at the end, we'll play through it one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. That is another option. So there you have it, folks. That is the thumb strum, and that is 2 examples of how we make our melody shine over the chords. Now, you're not going to always use the thumb strum so frequently. Later on, other arrangements, you might do something like. That's something to keep in mind. I just really wanted to use it here on every single note so you could become more confident with it. All right. Very, very good job today. I will see you tomorrow for day 2. See you then. So there you have it, folks. Day 1, painless, easy. Tape yourself, film it, upload it to Instagram, tag us at 10thumbspro, at Collarbrand Music, hashtag Chord Melody Challenge. Only 9 more days. I know you can do this. Get those tabs to help you and think about becoming a Patreon so you can score tabs with every single lesson, previous ones, unlimited downloads. I'll see you tomorrow for day number 2. Take care of yourself.